The house on Ravine Road. Ravine Road was a stretch of desolate highway that cut through the heart of an ancient forest. Locals avoided it after dark, sharing whispered tales of eerie occurrences and ghostly apparitions. In the heart of this forest stood an old, decrepit house. Built in the late 1800s, it had long been abandoned, its weathered boards and broken windows a testament to years of neglect. To the local children, it was known as the house on Ravine Road, a place of nightmares and dares. On a chilly autumn evening, four college friends, Sarah, Mark, Jenny, and Alex, decided to investigate the old house. They were in search of a thrill, spurred on by bravado and a few drinks. The house was the perfect spot for their adventure. "Are you sure about this?" Sarah asked, clutching her jacket tightly as the wind howled through the trees. "Don't be such a scaredy cat," Mark teased, grinning. "It's just an old house. Besides, what's the worst that could happen?" Jenny and Alex exchanged glances, their nervous excitement palpable. They had heard the stories too, but curiosity had won out over caution. The group made their way up the weed-choked driveway, flashlights casting eerie shadows on the crumbling facade. The door creaked ominously as they pushed it open, revealing a dark, musty interior. The air was thick with the smell of mold and decay. "Look at this place," Alex whispered, shining his flashlight around. "It's like something out of a horror movie." The floorboards groaned underfoot as they ventured further into the house. Cobwebs hung like gossamer curtains from the ceiling, and dust motes danced in the beam of their flashlights. The house felt oppressive, as if the very walls were watching them. "Let's check out the basement," Mark suggested, his voice barely concealing a tremor of fear. "Are you crazy?" Jenny replied, her voice shaking. "That's where all the bad things happen in horror movies." "Exactly," Mark said, trying to sound brave. "Come on, don't you want to see if the stories are true?" With a collective sigh, they made their way to the basement door. It was old and warped, barely holding on to its hinges. The steps creaked ominously as they descended into the darkness. The basement was damp and cold, the air thick with an earthy smell. "Look at this," Sarah said, pointing to a corner. "An old chest!" The chest was large and ornate, covered in years of dust and grime. Mark knelt down and tried to open it, but the lid wouldn't budge. "Help me out here," he grunted, and Alex joined him. Together, they pried the chest open with a loud creak. Inside, they found a collection of old photographs and a diary. The photos were black and white, depicting a family that had lived in the house many years ago. The diary was leather-bound, its pages yellowed with age. "Let's see what's inside," Sarah said, opening the diary. She began to read aloud. "October 13th, 1889. We have moved into the new house on Ravine Road. It is beautiful, but there is something unsettling about it. My husband says it is just my imagination, but I feel as if we are not alone here." The friends exchanged uneasy glances as Sarah continued to read. November 5th, 1889. Strange noises in the night, footsteps in the hall, whispers in the dark. My husband insists it is the wind, but I know better. There is something in this house, something malevolent. "Maybe we should stop," Jenny said, her voice trembling. "This is really creepy." "No way," Mark said, leaning in closer. "Keep reading, Sarah." December 25th, 1889, Christmas Day. But there is no joy in this house. Our daughter Emily has been speaking to someone we cannot see. She says it is a friend, but I fear it is something much darker. My husband is worried too, but he will not admit it. We must leave this place. The final entry was dated January 3rd, 1890. We cannot escape. The house will not let us leave. It whispers to me at night, calling my name. Emily is gone. Taken. We are trapped. If you find this diary, please do not stay in this house. Leave while you can. As Sarah finished reading, a chill settled over the group. The basement seemed darker, the air colder. The silence was thick, broken only by the sound of their own breathing. "Let's get out of here," Jenny said, her voice barely above a whisper. They turned to leave, but the basement door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The flashlight beam shook as they frantically tried to open it, but it was stuck fast. "We're trapped!" Alex shouted, panic rising in his voice. Calm down, Mark said, though his own fear was evident. There has to be another way out. They scanned the basement, their flashlights flickering. In the far corner, behind some old crates, they found a small, narrow door. Look, over here, Sarah said, pointing. Maybe this leads outside. They squeezed through the narrow opening, finding themselves in a dark, narrow passageway. The walls were damp, and the floor was uneven. It felt as if they were walking deeper into the bowels of the earth. The passageway twisted and turned, leading them further away from the basement. The air grew colder, and they could hear the faint sound of whispers, unintelligible but unnerving. "Do you hear that?" Jenny asked, her voice shaking. "Yeah," Alex replied, his grip tightening on the flashlight. "I don't like this." They continued onward, the whispers growing louder. The passage ended in another door, this one old and rotten. It swung open with a creak, revealing a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room stood a figure, shrouded in darkness. It was a little girl, her hair matted and her dress tattered. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural light. "Emily?" Sarah whispered, recognizing the girl from the photographs. The girl turned to face them, a chilling smile spreading across her face. "You shouldn't have come here," she said, her voice echoing unnaturally in the small room. "We just want to leave," Mark said, his voice shaking. "Please let us go." The girl laughed, a sound that sent chills down their spines. "You can't leave. The house won't let you." As she spoke, the room began to shake. The walls trembled, and the floor seemed to move beneath their feet. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. "We need to get out of here," Jenny screamed, turning to flee. But the passageway was gone, replaced by solid stone walls. They were trapped. "There's no way out," Emily said, her voice filled with a malicious glee. "You're part of the house now." The friends huddled together, their fear palpable. The whispers grew louder, and the darkness seemed to close in around them. "This can't be happening," Alex said, his voice barely audible over the noise. "We have to stay together," Sarah said, trying to sound brave. "We'll find a way out." But there was no way out. The house had them, just as it had taken Emily and her family. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they drowned out all other sounds. And then there was silence. Years passed, and the house on Ravine Road remained abandoned. The stories of the old house continued to circulate, each one more terrifying than the last. But no one dared to investigate, not after what happened to the four college friends. On quiet nights, if you stood outside the house and listened carefully, you could hear the faint sound of whispers. Some said it was the wind, but others knew better. The house was alive, and it was always hungry. Thank you for listening. Leave a like, subscribe, and share.